Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're taking maybe a bit of a sharp turn. We're moving away from the usual research reports, and diving into some powerful political allegory instead.
Sounds fascinating.
It really is. We're getting into this pretty dense and haunting piece. It's called Ballad of the Forgotten Struggle by Weerathunga W. Nimal.
Right.
And I think when you encounter something like this, a poem, a ballad, you might wonder, well, how do you pull out real-world insight from it?
Yeah, it's not always obvious.
Exactly. So that's our mission today. Get past the beautiful language, powerful as it is, and really unpack the allegory here.
Okay.
We want to focus on what this forgotten struggle actually is, and maybe more importantly, why the text insists its cost is, well, still being paid.
And it's such a vital exercise, isn't it? Because Nimal seems very deliberate here. It feels universal.
How so?
Well, the text doesn't give you specific names or dates. There's no, fixed geography or timeline.
Right, it's very open.
It uses these broad images, pain, oppression, corruption, so the personal story becomes like a stand-in for a much bigger systemic failure. And choosing the ballad form itself is interesting. Historically, in places without much press freedom or facing censorship.
Allegory was the way.
Exactly. Allegorical poetry sometimes became the only safe channel to sort of document what was happening and offer sharp criticism.
So the universality is actually a strategy for critique, but also maybe self-preservation. That makes a lot of sense. And the core idea, the thing we're really chasing, it keeps coming back in the refrain, doesn't it?
It does.
Forgotten struggle, pleading still, the world moves on, yet we pay the bill. That tension, forgetting versus still paying,
Yeah,
that's the paradox we need to explore.
absolutely.
Okay, let's get into it then. The poem starts by setting this scene, this environment. Stanza 1 hits you immediately with fear, isolation.
Yeah.
I stood for votes when no one spoke, in a land where silence wore a cloak.
A cloak.
Yeah.
Why a cloak?
Well, a cloak hides things, but it also protects.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So silence isn't just emptiness. It's something active people have to put on.
That's how I read it. It's like a necessary disguise for survival, which makes any political act, like standing for votes, incredibly isolating. Terrifying, even.
And that terror isn't just out there in public, is it? The poem brings it right into the home.
Immediately. That's
Yeah.
crucial. Fear is used to control not just the street, but the kitchen table.
We get that line, fathers whispered, mothers prayed, and children learned to live afraid.
Chilling, isn't it? Fear isn't the exception. It's like the basic lesson kids are learning. It just eats away at the trust you need for any kind of society to function.
So it's beyond political failure. It's about breaking down connections between people, social atomization.
Yes, the systemic destruction of trust.
But the poem doesn't just leave it there, in despair. That refrain pushes back a little. It says, even while voices hide in shadows deep.
The truth walks with us side by side.
Right. What do you make of that?
I think Nimal is suggesting there's a kind of moral certainty, maybe a historical truth that can't be erased by official silence or, the world moving on. The suffering happened, the record exists walking alongside the survivors, even if it's invisible to outsiders. It's defiant.
So the silence of the victims doesn't mean the truth is gone. It's just waiting.
Waiting to be retrieved, perhaps? Yes. And if we shift from that atmosphere of fear to the consequences, the poem gets really specific about the suffering, the cost.
Yeah, it becomes intensely personal.
And what's striking is how that political cost isn't framed in economic terms, like lost GDP or anything like that.
No, it's all about family tragedy.
Yeah,
The system's failure is written on the family unit.
exactly.
And the imagery used to list these costs, it's just devastating. It strips away any abstraction. There are 3 images, right?
Yeah.
Very distinct, very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
First, the wife. She's a candle in the storm, who held unborn light in fragile form.
That image, it just screams precarious hope, doesn't it? A candle in a storm is barely surviving.
And the unborn light.
Hmm.
That's the future generation.
I think so. The potential of the society itself, held in this incredibly fragile, endangered state, the political storm is literally trying to blow out the future.
Wow. Then the imagery shifts completely to destruction. The mother, struck down like a fallen tree, left rootless, robbed of dignity.
So if the wife is the endangered future, the mother feels like the destroyed past, the foundation.
That's how it feels. Rootless. It suggests the entire support structure, the social fabric meant to protect elders, tradition, dignity.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
It's total collapse, not just sadness or grief. The oppression hits everything.
Okay, so endangered future, destroyed past. Then there's the ant,
Right.
who became a broken wing, a sparrow trapped, no song to sing.
Yeah.
What does that symbolize, do you think?
Maybe potential that's encrippled,
Yeah.
mobility, voice. A sparrow should fly, should sing. This one can't. It's trapped.
So you have the lost foundation and the lost ability to rise up or even speak out. It feels like a complete accounting of the damage. No way to mistake the political for something abstract.
It's a human ledger. This familial wreckage is the political record. It shows the utter lack of safety, of dignity.
Yeah.
When a political system becomes oppressive like this, it doesn't just crush the activists directly involved, it crushes the most vulnerable people around them.
Which brings up a tough question then. If this struggle gets forgotten, if the authorities make this pain invisible,
How can anyone who benefited the world that moves on ever truly grasp the debt that's owed?
exactly. And that seems to lead right into the speaker's own moment of, well, deep disillusionment.
In stanza 4, yeah.
He looks back at what he tried to do, and he calls himself a fool with ballad dreams,
Ooh.
who watched mercy drown in shallow streams. He believed in the process, the vote, and what he got was personal ruin and justice disappearing.
It's profound self-assessment, isn't it? His failure wasn't just personal bad luck. It was the whole system failing, reflected back at him.
And the poem immediately shows us why it failed. It points fingers.
Oh yeah, stanza 5 pivots right to the leadership. And the critique is damning.
They aren't just flawed. They're presented as toxic usurpers.
Drunkards crown themselves as kings. That line is incredible.
And gold-plated thieves with puppet strings.
It completely delegitimizes them. It emphasizes the sheer depth of the corruption, the hypocrisy.
They didn't earn power. They basically bought it.
Yeah.
Bought their halos, sold their sins.
And then praise themselves for every win. It's like this economy of immorality where power itself is just another commodity.
They're the ones who've not only forgotten the struggle, but seem to have actively profited from the mess left behind.
Yes, they perform their corruption openly and call it success, which just locks in the systemic breakdown. And crucially, the poem suggests the danger isn't even over, just because those initial democratic attempts fail.
The threat lingers.
That's what the final stanzas seem to say. The jackals prowl, the masks still dance. It implies the violence, the political danger, it's still out there.
Just maybe changed its appearance.
Perhaps, forcing people to live constantly on edge, where they have to play by chance. There's no real security.
So if the political process failed, and the danger is still around, what was all that suffering for?
And that leads to probably the most provocative claim in the whole piece.
Yeah, this is where the language feels like a painful transaction. The speaker claims all this suffering, it was somehow necessary. From our wounds the world could see, we bled to buy their liberty.
That bled to buy phrasing is so stark.
All the pain, the candle, the tree, the wing, presented as the price paid for freedom. But is he proud of that sacrifice? Or is it bitter? Is he pointing at the beneficiaries?
It feels like a contract, almost, a payment made. And if you link that back to the refrain, forgotten struggle, bleeding still,
Yet we pay the bill.
it strongly suggests bitterness, resentment even.
Okay, explain that connection.
Well, the activists paid the ultimate price, the blood price, right? But the current situation described is one where the struggle is forgotten, corruption reigns with these kings, and danger persists with the jackals. Meaning the liberty that blood was supposed to buy was either squandered by those beneficiaries, or maybe it never truly materialized for them in the first place.
So the promise was broken.
Profoundly broken. The potential for freedom was secured by the activists' sacrifice, but the leadership utterly failed to honor it by building a just, secure society.
Which means the family, the mother, wife, aunt, the whole community is still footing the bill, emotionally, physically.
Still paying for a promise that wasn't kept. The debt remains unsettled. That seems to be the core message.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this for you, our listener. What are the deepest takeaways from Nimal's Ballad of the Forgotten Struggle?
Well, first off,
It's clearly a document of incredible courage, right? Activism in the face of silencing fear.
definitely. But it's also this painful ledger. It itemizes the real human cost of that activism.
And it shows that cost isn't just abstract political points. It hits the family unit first and hardest, the domestic sphere, not just the public square.
And it gives you a sharp anatomy of betrayal, how corrupt authorities can basically hijack the narrative and monetize a victory they didn't actually earn.
So we keep circling back to that central image, that refrain, forgotten struggle, bleeding still, paying the bill.
Yeah. And what does that ask you to consider in your own contexts?
Hmm,
Maybe it means recognizing that the history of freedom often involves these deep, silent sacrifices, things that never make it onto the official monuments.
that line, truth walks with us.
Yeah.
It's like an instruction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look for those hidden histories.
Exactly. And maybe measure political success not just by GDP reports or official
But
statements.
by the actual safety and dignity experienced by the most vulnerable people in that society.
Precisely.
Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you today, drawn right from the poem's end.
Okay.
If the price of liberty really has been paid in blood by the forgotten, the wounded, the ones left rootless, then what is the moral responsibility, the practical duty of those who inherited that fragile liberty? Especially when the struggle that bought it remains forgotten by the powers they live under.
What do they need to do to finally settle that long overdue bill?
Something to think about.